Obviously, we did draw 0-0 with Brentford yesterday. Me and my brother were there at the game. Let's just get straight into the match preview. And you got to say, the highlight of the day was definitely seeing Eriksen. There was nothing on show on that football pitch that can convince us we are going to go and get that top 4 spot. It was a terrible game from start to finish from Tottenham, to be honest. It was just like a serious lack of pace in the game, a serious lack of movement, and a serious lack of ideas, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we spent pretty much the whole game defending set pieces from Brentford. That's what it seemed. Pretty much the whole game, they were putting pressure on Spurs. They were the ones trying to get in behind, getting the ball early into Mbeumo and Ivan Toney. Eriksen was, as he does, dictating the play beautifully. I thought he was playing some brilliant long range and short range passing. We really struggled to deal with him throughout the game, to be honest. And considering we knew the threat Brentford posed from set pieces, it is a minor miracle we didn't concede from one, because they hit the bar, they hit the post late on, Harry Kane cleared one off the line, Ivan Toney had 2 back post volleys completely unmarked in consecutive corners, which was unbelievable. We got away with one from set pieces, that's for sure.
How many times in that first half, we could see it, we were right next to that goal, we were saying, mark that guy on the back post.
Ivan Toney there, star striker.
But it was like, you know, like 2 or 3 times they got corner after corner after corner, and we just kept leaving that guy, Ivan Toney, at the back post completely free, and he was going for him every time.
There's one thing leaving a player at the back post. There's another thing leaving Ivan Toney at the back post. Do you know what I mean? What are you doing? I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing for those corners. From that point of view, throw-ins as well. I think we dealt with the throw-ins pretty comfortably, but the corners we definitely struggled with. And considering how strong they are, we just kept giving them free corners. Like we didn't. I felt like it was. I get it, safety first and all kind of stuff, but I felt like any pressure we were under put out for a corner. But sometimes you got to be smart, because that's where the real danger was. I thought from open play, Brentford didn't have too much to trouble us. I think we actually dealt with them defensively from open play fairly comfortably. I think we defended fairly well from that point of view. But when it came to giving them set pieces, that's where we definitely struggled, and we were lucky we didn't concede. And from our point of view going forward, first half we had next to nothing. Literally, you're talking, like Kane had that miscued chip. I mean, I can't remember too much else we had in that first half. We had a few corners of ourselves, which you didn't look threatening from, really, did we? Sorry. Throughout that first half. And we went into half-time. I wouldn't say lucky to be level, but we definitely weren't really creating anything, and it was a big worry. And especially back off the game against Brighton, you're thinking, surely you want to show reaction to that performance, and it wasn't there at all. Second half came. We had a pretty quick start. I thought for the first 20 minutes of the first half, we started with a bit of intent. We were playing the ball a lot quicker. We had that moment fairly early in the second half where we had 3 shots blocked in the box, didn't we? Emerson was getting forward fairly well. He actually found Kane in the box, and we looked like we were gonna, forcing the issue a bit. But then that didn't last. And after about, I would say, the hour mark, 65 minutes, Brentford again grew back in the game, started again to get a lot of the set pieces, and we didn't quite get our foothold back in the game up until maybe there was maybe a 5-minute period. I thought it was just after we brought on, actually, to be fair, it was just after we brought on Sanchez, which we'll talk about in a minute, why we did that sub. But we brought on Sanchez, and actually we did kind of push a bit further up the pitch. Davis got a few clear runs on the left-hand side, but no quality. And Son was getting in a few good spaces, but he wasn't able to get across to find anyone in the box. And then it was weird. For the last 5 minutes of the game, including stoppage time, it was all Brentford. They hit the post. They were the ones forcing the issue. And it seemed like Tottenham lost their urgency. We were kind of just playing it around the back, taking our time over goal kicks and things like that. It seemed like we were just settling for a point, which was a bit annoying. And ultimately, it was a frustrating result at the end of the day. But I feel like after last week, maybe the words of Conte saying, if you can't win, don't lose, the players were taking that to heart, and we didn't. I felt like for the last few minutes of the game, you expecting last few minutes when we need a goal, get everyone up the pitch, Lloris to go long, try and make something happen, get it to Kane, who actually won a few headers when we got it to him, try and get the ball in the box as quickly as possible. We didn't. We were taking our time over goal kicks. We were playing it short. We were just there wasn't a real sense of urgency. We didn't have everyone in Brentford's half. It was like everyone was back in their normal positions, and ultimately, that was very, very frustrating. Frustrating result, and frustrating performance.
Yeah, it really was, and it was basically, I mean, so many similarities in our performance to the Brighton game. So many similarities to the first half against Aston Villa as well. I mean, we just looked devoid of ideas, completely devoid of ideas. Second game in a row now, Kulusevski's pretty much not impacted the game whatsoever. Harry Kane has been completely been marked out of the game the last couple of games. He hasn't been able to find a way around that. The midfield has been completely overrun and overloaded. And they force us out to our wing-backs, and our wing-backs cannot do anything. Emerson putting in carbon copy displays week in, week out, where defensively he looks okay. Going forward, he offers absolutely nothing. On the other side, Sessegnon pretty much offered what Reguilon was offering last week, which was little next to nothing. Yeah. And the only shining light in our team yesterday was Romero, in my opinion. I thought Romero had a good game, but apart from that, there was nothing to shout about yesterday.
Yeah, it was really disappointing, and the fact as well. I mean, Conte's coming for a bit of criticism as well after yesterday because of the lack of proactivity in changing either formation or personnel, waiting until the last 15 minutes to change the game, and then the change he does is Davinson Sanchez for Ryan Sessegnon, which was a very odd change. To make at that kind of a game when we're looking for a goal. He justified it in his press conference saying, well, I felt like we needed an extra body for height, for set pieces and stuff in case we conceded. But it's almost like with 15 minutes to go, he's thinking about not conceding rather than scoring. Then we waited till 5 minutes to go to bring on Lucas Moura. And it nearly paid off because he was in on goal, and then he was obviously hacked down, wasn't he? It was rugby tackled just outside the box when that would have been a very promising opportunity. But, you bring him on a lot longer. Maybe he has a couple of those moments instead of just one. And that's ultimately very frustrating. Bergwijn doesn't see a minute.
What does he have to do to get some minutes on the pitch? I don't get it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I back Conte and his decisions, but I just don't understand it. Yeah. I don't understand what Bergwijn needs to do, because ever since Conte has come in, Bergwijn has looked threatening every time he's been on the pitch. Yeah. And in the past couple of weeks, especially the last few games, he's limited to minutes here, minutes there, and yesterday, not even 1 minute.
Yeah, he came on against Newcastle, he got a goal. That wasn't so long ago. And since then, he came on against Villa for the last 10 minutes or so, and he was looking quite threatening in that game. He then came on against Brighton, and he had a chance. I know he missed the chance, but he was actually there to try and do something in the last few minutes against Brighton after we conceded and we nearly got an equaliser. So it almost seems like in the last few minutes of games, when he comes on, at least he makes things happen. He tries to get shots on goal. He tries to make an impact. Which is a lot more than I would say Lucas Moura does when he comes on, to be honest. We don't really see him having shots on goal and stuff when he's coming on. So I don't understand why we're chasing a goal. It's 0-0. We only need one goal. We need one moment. We've already seen what an impact Bergwijn can make off the bench. Even if it means going two up top, stick him up top with Kane and put Son out wide or something, and try and see if it makes a change. But he didn't. We only made the two subs, and he said he wanted to find the right balance between attack and defence, and that's why he made the decision. But it just seems odd to me that maybe it's him being stubborn or with the formation or something. But it seems odd that we needed just one moment to change the game, and we don't bring an impact sub on who gives us our best chance to do that. And that was very disappointing for me. And obviously he's going to come under criticism for not making that change. It doesn't make much sense to me. Also, if you're gonna put Sanchez there, you might as well put Reguilon at left wing back. You might as well make a double sub, because having Davis at left wing back the quality just wasn't there when he was able to get forward. It was and obviously Reguilon has that bit more pace about him than Reguilon is, and with tired legs he can stretch people. The one thing I would say about
at least Reguilon can run fast in straight lines.
Exactly. The only thing, the one positive I would say about Sessegnon, in the very few positives there were, is at least he was looking to take people on, which is more I could say for Emerson and Reguilon and Davis when they're in that position. He was trying to take people on. he wasn't very successful at it, but at least he was trying. I feel like Reguilon doesn't even bother taking people on a lot of the time. He just kind of, if he can't run in a straight line, he'll just pass it back or something. But at least when Sessegnon got the ball, he was looking to manoeuvre the space. In the first half, there were a few opportunities. He got into the byline and got a few crosses in and won a few corners. But second half, there was just a lack of quality again with his final ball. A lot of the times it was just going straight out of play or hitting the first man. Wasn't able to shake off the Burnley wing back, and that was a source of frustration. And I think the wing backs are a massive issue at the moment. I actually thought Kulusevski moved to wing back. I thought he looked a bit better there. I know it was only a small sample size, but he was actually able to cause a few more problems because he was able to find a bit of space. Because they were occupied by Lucas, Kulusevski actually had a bit of space to cut inside and swing a few crosses in. No shots, but at least he was able to make Brentford think a bit more about what they were doing at the back. Emerson made it easy for them.
Yeah, it's so true. And like a lot of fans I'm seeing around social media blaming Conte for not having a plan B and stuff like that, which is a fair point. But at the end of the day, what else can we do? What else can we do? Because we can't put an extra man in midfield unless we play Harry Winks, and hardly anyone wants to see that. We can't change the wing backs really much. Sessegnon and Reguilon are pretty much like for like. Can't really tell you who's better than the other one. On the right hand side, we got Emerson and Doherty obviously out for the rest of the season. So I mean, what can we do as a plan B? What can we do to change it up for next game? How do we get out of this kind of rut that we're in?
It's difficult because
there's a clear blueprint how to beat Spurs right now. You man-mark Kane out of the game. I know that, but it feels like a loss right now. But when you're looking at the last two games, not one shot on target, 0-0 against Brentford, 1-0 loss against Brighton. That first half against Villa, where we got lucky that we didn't concede a hatful of goals in that half. I mean, there's a clear blueprint. You pressure us high up the pitch, man-mark Kane out of the game, and overload the midfield, and just leave our wing-backs to it.
I don't think it was necessarily them just pressing us up the pitch all the time. They did from goal kicks, but I actually felt, especially in the second half, they were having all men were behind the ball, and that's where we really struggled to break them down. And Conte said in his press conference that during the week they were spending a lot of time during the week just trying to train on breaking down low blocks and trying to break down men behind the ball. Yet when it came to the game, we weren't able to do it. We weren't able to find any of the
Who are they trying to break down? Rodon and Sanchez.
Maybe that's why. You know what I mean? Son, I felt like when he moved that wide, actually, he was getting a bit more joy. But in the central areas, there was no space for him whatsoever. Whenever he picked up the ball, he was just getting marked.
He looked like the only one that was able to make anything happen yesterday, if anything was going to happen.
Yeah, but he was. Apart from the wide areas, he couldn't find any space. That was a big problem. And then I think we have a big issue with midfield because you saw the quality Eriksen brings yesterday. It was on display yesterday for all to see. Long range passing, short range passing, setting the tone of the game, knowing when to quicken up the pace of the pass or when to slow things down.
Yeah, dictating the tempo.
Finding space in deep and even having a couple of shots on goal from the edge of the box and things like that. We simply do not have a player like that. And we've said that from the beginning of the season. Bentancur and Højbjerg are good at what they do.
Since he's left.
They're good at what they do, Højbjerg and Bentancur, but they're not players who are gonna dictate a game on the ball. They're simply not as good as Bentancur is on the ball. I think he's got good composure and a good passing range. He's not at anywhere near someone like Eriksen's level at dictating a game. Doesn't have that in him to do that. He's more of a defensive midfielder who's good on the ball rather than a player who can actually, like Eriksen, like who's elite at dictating a game. You know what I mean? Getting on the ball and having a vision of the whole pitch. There's one thing playing a few good passes during a game like Bentancur can do, and there's one thing doing it 10, 20 times during a game. And that's what someone like Eriksen brings. That's why I'm so in favour of bringing him back, because there's games like yesterday where we need someone to get on the ball and actually take some initiative from going forward and have some quality as well and have literally a pinpoint delivery every time he delivers it. We don't have that, and that definitely stifles us when we're sitting low blocks, and also when teams are pressing us, we have no one to pass it to when we're trying to play out, and no real quality when we're going forward. It feels like we're too easy to play against. when everyone's behind us and we're playing everything in front of Brentford. We're way too easy to play against. We're way too predictable. And when Kane, again, for the second game in a row, this must be an instruction from Conte, but for the second game in a row, Kane again was not dropping back. He was stuck up the pitch and being that focal point for us. When he's not dropping back and adding creativity to the team, there just simply isn't any.
But surely,
and it's there for all to see.
But surely Conte's got to realise that, see that on the pitch, see what's going on, and then give him the instruction to go and drop deep, go and help out the midfield, go and create something for us. Because we look devoid of any sort of creation whatsoever. Why is there no instruction to Harry Kane saying, go and drop deep, go and get yourselves involved with the play, go and drag the defenders out, or go, you know what I mean? Go occupy some midfielders.
Difficult to know why.
It makes no sense to me.
He was doing it well before during the last few weeks. He's been doing it very well, and if for some reason there's been a switch for that. We all know that Conte before he joined was on that interview saying he wants Kane in the box. He thinks Kane is the elite number 9. That's where he's most dangerous, and maybe he feels like having Kane there is the best use of him, because if anything happens in and around the box and Kane's there, it's likely to go in. But unfortunately, it's not happening for him at the moment. And at least a few times, you'd think Kane would be dropping a bit deeper. It was interesting though. Look at the pass map. It does say he was playing Son was the furthest man forward and Kane was a bit deeper, but it didn't seem like that during the game. He wasn't picking the ball up at all. Maybe it's just maybe teams are getting wise to it and they're making sure that Kane doesn't receive any service whatsoever, and that's stifling him. It does seem like over the past 2 games, whenever the ball goes to Kane, he has about 3 men around him every time, and that's obviously makes it harder for him.
It stifled him.
Yeah, it's harder for him to shake off 3 men. When he's trying to make things happen, but we got to make that's where, beforehand, if Kane's being stifled, then you have other players to compensate. But when those players are Bentancur and Højbjerg, unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult for you to compensate for the quality Kane has on the ball. That's why we're so desperate for an elite creative midfielder. That's the main reason, because without Kane doing that creation and having that quality on the ball, it's very difficult for us to hurt the opposition, it seems. And that, I think, it proves in the pudding. Two games out without a shot on target, and we barely went close yesterday to scoring a goal.
We hardly laid a glove on them. Like, our biggest chance of the game yesterday was that Kane, what was it, that weldy that he tried to do, that bicycle kick right at the end.
And that was, I don't even know, I haven't seen it back. I don't even know if that was close.
Yeah. But, it looked fairly close from where we were, but I can't really.
It wasn't a great angle.
I didn't even watch any of the highlights yesterday.
The closest we probably went, I thought, was that moment where we had 3 shots blocked in the box. That's probably the best we came up with. That, to be fair, was actually a good play from Emerson, because he got forward well and he actually picked out Kane in the box for once, and we nearly scored from it. I did feel like in the opening, say, 15-20 minutes of the second half, we did quicken things up, and it looked like we were trying to force the issue, but then we couldn't keep up, and ultimately Brentford will probably feel a bit unlucky they didn't win. I don't think they did quite enough in open play to win the game, but they definitely, from set pieces, were a massive threat.
We knew coming into this game, right, that's where their biggest threat is going to lie, from set pieces. And how many times did we just constantly giving them corners? In the first half, they must have had about 6 corners alone.
8.
8.
I think it was we had 3 and they had 8 corners.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? It's like even worse than I thought. It was just non-stop barrage of corners.
And throws as well. Fellow just like giving freebies as well. We weren't even under that much pressure, and we're just giving them away for free, and giving them more chances to score. And that was frustrating.
And Emerson Royale, that pass at the end, just before he goes off,
summed up his game.
Really did. Summed up his season, to be honest. Absolutely shocking. Your reaction to it said it all, to be honest.
Yeah, I was furious.
You were absolutely furious, and got taken off, and rightly so. But at the end of the day, we don't have options and we don't have ways.
Doherty injured, that's it. We have to. It's either him or, we'll talk about this later. But put Kulusevski there. He said he can play there. I'm ready for it.
I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. I've seen a lot of tweets saying I'm ready for Kulusevski at right wing back now. First of all, how much stuff is Emerson doing defensively anyway? I don't even know how much he's doing. Romero backed up for him so much yesterday.
Seemed that way. So if he's not offering that much defensively, and he's obviously clearly nothing going forward, you might as well try Kulusevski there. Put Lucas or Bergwijn up front, and then all of a sudden we become a lot more unpredictable. All of a sudden we have another option there who can attack, and it might you could stifle Kulusevski a bit, being a bit wider, because I think he likes it a bit more central, like he's been playing. But at the moment, I don't think we can persist with Emerson continuing playing in that role. He's just simply a liability on and off the ball. Like right now, he's costing us, and it was almost as if sometimes the whole team is only as good as its weakest player. Sometimes, because sometimes we're trying to build play from the back, and then we give it to Emerson, and he takes a loose touch, and it's sloppy, and he doesn't find the right pass, and then either he goes backwards or he gives it away, and he can't hang on to the ball. You never seem confident of keeping possession when the ball gets to Emerson. It almost seems like it's going to go for a throw, or he's going to get tackled or something. You just don't seem confident with it.
The fact of the matter, right? If you've only got a couple of dangerous players on the team, it's very easy for a team that know how to defend to stifle them out of the game, and that's what teams are doing against us at the moment. They're putting 2 or 3 men around Kane. He's not getting the service to Heung-min Son.
He's not giving
no service to Kulusevski either. So all these 3 players are pretty much out the game right now. So you're relying on the wing backs, and you're relying on players that we know can't do nothing.
Yeah,
and that's the facts of the matter.
And you're relying on Højbjerg and Bentancur to create as well.
Exactly, who are not creative players.
They're not. They're just not. As I say, like, for defensive midfielder, or for the midfielders they are, I think they can do decent jobs in terms of creating a few chances, but you might get 1 or 2 chances created from them a game. You know what I mean? And if you don't take those chances, that's it. Those are all the only chances you're getting. Whereas if you had someone like Eriksen, he's literally a machine. He can pretty much create how many chances you want during the game. It almost seems so you can create 4, 5, 6 chances a game. So when you have someone like Eriksen, if he does create a chance and you miss it, it doesn't feel like the end of the world. But I feel like when Højbjerg or Bentancur create something or get a shot off goal and then it doesn't go in, that's like, okay, that's the chance of the game.
That's
done,
our chance for our next hour.
Exactly, and that's a worry. You know, if they had someone next to them who can create, then all of a sudden they can look a lot better. But when you're relying on them to create, then it's a different story.
Yeah, it's so true. And when you're looking at the top 4 race now, obviously last weekend we can beat Brighton to go 6 points clear in the top 4. Now we're 2 points behind Arsenal in 5th now.
Yeah.
If Arsenal win their next 2 games, when we got Liverpool away after Leicester, it starts to look really difficult.
We're in trouble.
It starts to look really difficult. And you're looking at Arsenal's fixtures, and they got West Ham away next, which, on the face of it, looks like a hard game, but they're in between their 2 biggest games of their history. I can't see West Ham getting anything out of that game. You're looking at the Leeds game, which, Leeds at home is usually going to be a home win for Arsenal. Then they play us, which, hopefully we can get 3 points in that game. And then they got Newcastle away. So those 2 games are like the opening for me, if we can, get 3 points this weekend.
But I think the problem is we're in big trouble now, because actually, in a weird way, if we would have got that point against Brighton, if we didn't concede in the last minute, our position wouldn't have been as bad as it is now, because if
we could have relied on a draw.
If Arsenal get 2 goals, if Arsenal get 2 wins in a row, that means we have to go to Anfield and win now to stay within 3 points of them. Going into North London derby. If we draw at Anfield, if we win against Leicester and draw at Anfield and Arsenal win their next 2, we're now 4 points behind.
Yeah.
And we can't overtake them with the North London derby. The only way we can is if we beat Liverpool. See, if we would have drawn to Brighton, we could have got a draw at Anfield and stayed within 3 points. And that's obviously, a draw is obviously a lot more likely than a win. And so that's a position you can say is a lot more tenable. But now having to go to Anfield and win, I mean, look, there's no given that they'll win the next 2, but it is likely.
But I guess something that is giving me a bit of confidence, looking at the last 2 Arsenal games, first of all, they've been super, super, super lucky in those last 2 games to get the points. I mean, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And I was saying to someone last night that only teams going against Tottenham in a race get this kind of luck.
It's incredible.
It's crazy. I mean, Leicester, when we were going up against Leicester, teams were rolling over for Leicester week in, week out. And it seems as though Arsenal were just getting this crazy, crazy luck in the last 2 games. First of all, how long can that last for? And second of all, Arsenal's defence looks more shaky than it ever has been this whole season, in my opinion.
And also, I think as well, especially against West Ham, I don't know against Leeds, but it's going to be different games. Against Chelsea and United, both dominated possession against Arsenal. I think United at one point had about 75% possession or something during the game. And they created a chance as well. They hit the bar, they hit the post, they missed a penalty.
Hit the woodwork 3 times.
Yeah, they had more than enough chances to go and win that game. So Arsenal have got a different, even though that West Ham are in the middle of a European semi-final, it's going to be a difficult game for them because of the way West Ham play. They're going to try and stifle Arsenal rather than try and attack them. So that's not going to be. It's not a given that they'll definitely win that game. The only problem is if Arsenal do go and get an early goal, then that's West Ham's plan out the window. But they are going to plan to stifle Arsenal. And then Leeds obviously in good form, so Arsenal I don't think have been unbelievable past 2 games, even though they've got 2 big wins against 2 higher up in the table teams, Man United and Chelsea. Their performance-wise hasn't been brilliant. They've just got big slices of luck. Obviously they got the 1-0 lead early. That's some of the sloppiest defending I've ever seen in my life from United for that opening goal. But the penalty was dubious. I think if there's no offside goal, that they don't give the penalty, because I think VAR has not overturned other ones which are more clear cut than that one they gave. Cedric should have been a clear penalty for me. That's a handball. He's
crawling. He's crawling, trying to block the ball.
Unbelievable! I couldn't believe that was.
And what's his name? Peter Walton, whatever his name is, comes on the commentary and was like, "Oh, if he's falling and putting his arm there, protect his fall or something. It's not a handball."
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
No.
That's not what happened. He fell and then he's literally crawling to try and block the ball.
He's trying to keep pace with Sancho. He's not trying to stay up. That's what he's doing. So the fact that he's trying to impede Sancho, and while trying to impede Sancho, he handles the ball. So for me, that's a clear penalty. Obviously, they got the penalty and then missed it, which was lucky enough. And I do believe the third goal for me was offside. I think Nketiah is blocking De Gea.
There's a clip of De Gea going like that.
He's looking both times, trying to look around Nketiah. The reason why apparently VAR judged that he wasn't looking through Nketiah, he was looking through Lindelof, even though Nketiah was standing behind Lindelof. So that didn't make sense to me at all. So I think that should have been disallowed for me. So you look, a number of things went in Arsenal's favour yesterday, incredibly, and they ended up with the win. But if they continue to play like that, I'm not sure if they're guaranteed to win the next 2. The only thing I'm worried about is the belief is now back with them. And their performance level might increase because of that, because the momentum's a powerful thing, and it can definitely increase your performance. And if they up their level, they can definitely go and win at West Ham and Leeds. That's for sure. That's the worrying thing. So I would say, for me, in terms of percentage of finishing top 4 and things like that, I had it after the Villa Spurs game, and Arsenal lost before. I would say it was about 60% Spurs to get top 4. Then after we lost to Brighton and they lost Southampton, even though we both lost, our percentage went down because we lost the chance to go 6 points clear and they still had a game in hand. So I would say it went down to 58%. After they after they beat Chelsea in midweek, I would say it went to about 52% Tottenham, 48% Arsenal. And now, after this week, I think it's about 55% Arsenal now, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe even a bit more,
to be honest.
55.
I'll say about 55.
But I would say that even if we go into that North London derby not 3 points behind them, there's still a chance in the last 2 games. They've got a hard game. Going away to Newcastle is not easy for anyone right now. The way they're playing, I mean, it's just crazy. In December, they were bottom with 7 points.
Yeah, now they're
9th in the league. Unbelievable stuff from Newcastle and Eddie Howe. Unbelievable. And last game of the season, I know on the face of it doesn't seem hard, but it could be Everton scrapping for their lives.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, we got a Burnley side who are scrapping for their lives. And then we go away to Norwich, last game of the season, that will probably have nothing to play for. But we've been there before with teams that have nothing to play for against Newcastle when we lost 5-1.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be losing 5-1.
Well, you didn't think that then either.
No, but they had Rafa Benitez. It was a different case.
I'm not saying we're going to lose 5-1, but I'm saying you can't take your eye off the ball against these teams. It's no given win.
No, but I hope... I don't know. Do we hope Burnley are safe, or then that impacts the Everton game, or do we hope Burnley are still fighting to keep Everton fighting. I don't know what to hope. We just got to hope on ourselves.
We just got to we got to rely on ourselves, and we just got to hope that Arsenal do drop some points, because let's be honest, we're going to drop points at Liverpool away.
Yeah, at least next week we play Leicester, and then just after we play Leicester, West Ham play Arsenal. So if we do win that game,
we go back into the top four.
Go back into the top four, and Arsenal can't draw; they have to win, because a draw we go above them on goal difference. So at least that does put a bit of pressure on them. So I think, look, step by step, just go and beat Leicester next week, and then see what happens with Arsenal away at West Ham, and who knows what can happen, because it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they drop points there, even though West Ham are playing European semi-final at home. A lot of their games I feel like have been away from home after European games like Brentford and stuff. West Ham at home is different kettle fish, and look, in terms of in the league, they're still fighting for a European spot in the league as well. So they're not just going to give Arsenal the win, but obviously they're going to be probably going to be tired from their midweek game. So it's going to be difficult, but it's not guaranteed that Arsenal win that game, especially with a bit of pressure on them as well after a win. So if we go beat Leicester, who knows what can happen?
Yeah, and we also got a bit of rub of the green this weekend, because Leicester are also in between two big European semi-finals against Roma, and that's going to be very taxing games, isn't it?
We just make sure we get the job done. We get the job done, put some pressure on Arsenal. Look, it's only 2 points, and it can change very quickly. No one expected Arsenal to have lost 4 of those 5 games they did. No one expected for us to drop points in the 2 games we have. So it proves how unpredictable the Premier League is.
It's mad though when you look at how much of a bottle job Spurs and Arsenal are, both of them. As soon as Arsenal went into the ascendancy, Spurs trumped them. As soon as Spurs get in the ascendancy, they start losing games. So now Arsenal in the ascendancy, let's see how they react to it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see, especially if we beat Leicester.
Yeah. But anyway, that is our match preview. That is our take on the top 4 race as well.